Get ready for some upbeat banter, plenty of laughs, and a whole lot of love for the game and our team. This is Buds and Blue Jays. And now your hosts, Riley McConnell and Jesse Burrell.
Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 19th, and welcome to episode 187 of Buds and Blue Jays, your place for all things related to the Toronto Blue Jays. As usual, Jesse Burrell joined by Riley McConnell, and we're doing a late night episode here on the East Coast because the Blue Jays just got swept for the first time all series, this time at the hands of our division rival, the Boston Red Sox. This was a big chance for the Toronto Blue Jays. We entered the series half a game behind them, and we had a chance to move past them and get in above 500, and the Blue Jays just simply fell flat on their face. So this might be a little bit of a somber episode from Riley and I. But Riley, man, how are you feeling? Give it to you. Floor is yours. Take it away. How are we feeling about our Toronto Blue Jays?
Don't really want the floor because the Blue Jays are falling right to the basement of the American League East with this. This is not good. First time we are swept in 2024. It's at the hands of the Boston Red Sox, who I think they're playing above what they should be. They've got incredible performances from their starting pitchers so far. Their stars are playing well. Ours are not. It's crazy. We play them next week at Fenway. I mean, we need that series in a big way. And then we got Cleveland, up on the weekend. I mean, this
Yankees
is a tough
at the
stretch.
end of the month.
Dude, we're in for it. I don't want to push the panic button. I don't want to say our season's over right now, but a lot has to change because as of right now, like, I don't think we're a playoff club. I think that we are sliding. I think this getting swept by the Boston Red Sox, I think it could be the start of more bad things to come. I think for the most part, we sent Jimmy Garcia onto the IL. I think that we've got very lucky with the health of our players so far this year. I know that we've had a couple injuries, but for the most part, we've been lucky and we haven't performed. We have been such a subpar team. On paper, this ball club should be doing so much better, and it shows. I mean, there's so many questionable decisions by players, management in this series. It's not a good look, Jesse, to get swept in your home park. And now, I mean, we're 4 games below 500 right now. It's a tough look at this point in the year, and it stinks because it feels like we, have not been hanging in all year, in this series against the Red Sox shows that.
35-39 is now our record for the Blue Jays, 15 and a half games back of the AL East. I will say, baseball's weird. You're never as good as you look when you're hot, and you're never as bad as you look when things are going bad. But this Toronto Blue Jays team looks quite damn bad right now. Like, not only are we not playing well, we're not even an exciting team at the moment. Like, at least when the Buffalo guys are here and they're all in the lineup, at least you can make the argument, like, hey, at least we got some excitement going on. But they're not playing every day. We're still running out guys like Justin Turner, George Springer, way too much. And it really feels like things are not going to get up. Like, even if Bichette comes back from the IL, turns it on and has a monster year, or if Vlad learns how to hit the ball in the air and all of a sudden is a 40 home run pace guy, it really doesn't even feel like that is going to be enough for this team. And Riley, man, we're in trouble. We are in a lot of trouble. I'll say that here.
I honestly don't see things changing that much from the players' side. It's really tough to say. You've dropped a couple names, and Jesse, we don't have a lot of prep work done for this episode. A lot of times we just shoot from the hip here at Buds and Blue Jays, and it makes for some good conversation points. And in my head, I'm going through the lineup. You said the Buffalo boys, and they are the most exciting players to watch on this team right now. Minus, I get that Justin Turner had a good series, but I mean, I think the wheels are really close to falling off for him. You had him coined DFA. That was on your bingo card. He's keeping himself on the roster with putting up numbers like that. But I mean, he has gone this year and had the biggest over stretch in his career. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a point in this year, if you play him consistently, that something like that happens again, at least with a guy like Spencer Horowitz. You're not going to get the most barreled baseballs in the world with a guy like him, but the bat control is there. The bat on balls. Barger can hit the ball hard. Heck, we called up Orelvis Martinez. He hasn't seen a big league inning yet. He hasn't gotten that bat yet, which I think is crazy. We don't have to dive right into that, but
we will at this episode a little later.
Absolutely, we are going to. We have the guys called up. We haven't seldom, Jesse, have I looked at the lineup card and been like, oh, great. Okay. I like where this is. Rarely does that happen. Especially the last 3 weeks to a month, I've looked at the lineup posted and I've gone, okay, I don't like that. There's about 2 or 3 things I can pick in that lineup and not enjoy it.
Okay, Riley, let's do that then. You are now the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. So long, John Schneider. About damn time. Riley McConnell, the keys are yours. Build me your lineup. What are you doing to try to spark this team? Because even the regulars that have been playing, like Dalton Varsho only had 1 hit in the series. Danny Jansen's on a bit of an 0-4. Like the guys we really needed to hit aren't even doing that. So what are you doing in the manager seat here to help fix this team?
So I think we made the right call. I think management made the correct call with calling up my leadoff hitter, Spencer Horowitz.
Yeah,
This guy he's put bat on ball. He's got an incredible eye at the plate. I mean, he's getting on base. That is the idea you want for a leadoff hitter. You want the guy with the best on base percentage. For me, it's a guy with speed. But we're in a new era of baseball where, you want the lineup to turn around. Jesse, you always remind me, well, your leadoff hitter really only leads off once to start the ball game, and then it flip-flops and things like that. So I've kind of shaken that mentality. I get that. So for me, it is a guy like Spencer Horowitz there. And then second is the hardest spot. I mean, you would have to find your next best hitter with maybe a little bit of power. And I'm probably going to put Vlad. And in my head, it's the correct call, but there are going to be some games, Jesse. We've seen it. I mean, grounding into double plays, killing innings, but it still has to be Vlad, followed up with a guy like Davis Schneider. For me, that's kind of the 1, 2, 3. But and then there's so many holes in Davis Schneider's swing.
Exactly. Right.
And because Horowitz is on second base, because Vladdy's on first, that moves Davis Schneider into left field, which then eliminates Kevin Kiermaier from this lineup, which I am fine with. He is not swung with the bat all year. Defense,
I'm fine with that as well.
He could go down, Jesse, as the best defensive center fielder in MLB history. I mean, there are stats to back that up, but that's not what the team needs. Dalton Varsho does a damn fine job out in center field and arguably is probably this year's best defensive outfielder. I'm not saying Varsho is going to be batting next in that order. Let's say but for me, like George Springer isn't in the lineup. I'm going to move Barger.
He can't be.
I'm going to move Barger out to right field. That moves Ernie Clement to third. Now, Ernie Clement has struggled at points defensively at third base. I understand that, but I still want Ernie Clement in the lineup because he has been hitting. He's a Charlie Hustle kind of guy. I want those guys in the lineup. Absolutely. Bo's out. I mean, shortstop's got to be IKF. At least IKF has been a league average hitter. I know we need more, but Jesse, we didn't plan for IKF to even be a league average hitter. So I'll take it. IKF has surprised me, and I'm fine with that. And then behind the dish, I'm still going to roll with Jansen, who has been cold. I mean, in the series, him and Kurt combined were 1 for 12. I'm not sure which one of those guys collected the hits. I'm looking at it right now. It was Jano in game 1. Jansen is a huge swing and miss guy. He's probably going to be batting in my cleanup spot. And then from there, it's a mixed bag. Honestly, it could be Varsho. It could be IKF.
Yeah.
It depends.
The whole point I'm trying to make on this, though, is that nobody is hitting, right? So it doesn't really matter where you put these guys in the order, right? Like, the thing is, what you really need to do is if a guy like Ernie Clement, who comes on in and goes 11 for his last 16, which there was a stretch that Ernie Clement had in this series, he needs to be in the lineup. And if he's hot, you put him higher. Like, I am a big analytics guy just as much as anyone else. I love this stuff. I'm diving deep into the data all the time. But there's got to be something said to riding the hot hand, right? If the guy is hot, you play him, right? Once he goes cold, then you move him down the lineup and go. But like, it's actually starting to get ridiculous to me, especially with a team that has been so desperate to try to find any type of offense whatsoever, that you're not doing this. It should be just a simple, how many total bases did my guy get that last night? Was it more than 3? Yep, fine. You're in the lineup today. Like, it really does seem that simple from the outside looking in.
And even in situations, I mean, Jesse, we didn't see Ernie Clement in game 3 of this series. Why the heck not? That's the point also I'm trying to make too, is I'm on board with you. You got to play the hot hand. If you see that a player is on a hot streak, Why are we taking him out of the lineup? Why are we taking the guy who's, I mean, batting 600 in his last 20 plate appearances out of the lineup because we think we can get a better matchup? I get that there's matchups, but Old Faithful, but guys hitting, don't take the bat out of his hand.
Riley, how confident are you that this is going to change? That it's just, or it's just going to be more of the same? We're just going to be beating a dead horse here.
I'm not confident. I fully believe that the solution is not coming from in-house right now, whether that be management, coaching, or players. I'm off that wagon. I don't believe that things are going to change the way things are. Even changing the batting order, Jesse, more has to happen.
Right. And I agree. And I want to make one more point before we really get into, and then we'll talk about the specifics of this series and what it means. Then we'll talk some Joey Votto or Orelvis Martinez and all that good stuff. If you're taking a bigger picture look at this Toronto Blue Jays team right now, and you say you're not going to beat the Yankees or the Orioles this season, it's going to take a lot for you to beat the Yankees and the Orioles next season. Are you going to beat them in 2026? Maybe, but it doesn't seem that way. And if you're going 3 years now where you say this Toronto Blue Jays team is not going to be better than those three teams, well, at that point, Vlad's off the books, Bassett's off the books, Gosman's off, Bo, Vlad, Bassett, Romano, like a bunch of people are all off the books. Like at some point, you have to sell. You don't have a choice here. If you're not going to be better than them within the next 3 years, then you have to just say, all right, the next 5-6 years of the AL East rolls through New York and Baltimore. And then maybe when they're starting on the way down, maybe then it's time for the Blue Jays to come up. But they need to get those prospects in the system, and they need to learn how to freaking develop their own prospects. But that's a story for another day. We can get into that another time. But that's kind of where I stand now with the Toronto Blue Jays and where this team really needs to go going forward.
We can't compete. Like the Yankees, I think that like Soto's on a 1 year, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what he's on?
He's a free agent.
Yeah. And then I don't know what it's going to take to get him back, but let's not talk about the Yankees. I'm not going to dive into the Orioles. Baltimore's scary because they have guys that are in their renewal states. Like Adley's not even hitting arbitration. Henderson's not. Like they have complete control over this division. Povich, who pitched early this year, is another good arm coming.
And they got more guys coming.
And they got more guys coming. It's crazy scary. And if they somehow can get a deal with Corbin Burns, who's not an old man. I mean, I don't know his age, 31, 32. Like he's younger than Gosman. This guy is going to be, another candidate for an American League Cy Young, or depending on where he goes.
Right. But the point is to bring it back to the Blue Jays here. Like we're not beating that. We're not beating that team.
We can't. Right? We don't even have an equivalent right now for hitting, pitching. Like Vladdy's not going to out muscle Gunnar Henderson right now.
Not a chance
in the hitting department. Yeah. It's not even.
And that's
close.
why everyone needs to go. It's time. Clean house, let them go. Because if you're not going to win with this core, we've tried it, Ross Atkins. You did it. You tried it. You came through. You made your mission. It didn't work. It's time to go. Anyways, frustration over. Let's talk a little bit about this series and some of the new things that have came up on this series. And the biggest news of the week, I suppose, is that the Toronto Blue Jays starting to get a little desperate, I'd say. And we called up our best hitting prospect, number 45 overall by Baseball America, Orelvis Martinez, came up. And I don't know if you saw the highlights of him in batting practice today, but the power is real. He was hitting moonshots into the second deck in left center field in Rogers Center. Like the power is absolutely real for this kid. Now, it could just be as simple as he is here as long as Bichette is on the IL, and it sounds like he's only going to be on the IL for probably about another week, right? And the Blue Jays, kind of interesting, are facing a lot of right-handed hitters on the schedule. Like the Red Sox are mostly righties, the Guardians are mostly righties, and that's who we play in the next week, right? And we've talked about Orelvis Martinez's splits down in Buffalo, how he just mashes left-handed hitters. So did we really bring him up just to have him sit on the bench, or are we going to put Orelvis Martinez in the lineup and just see what we've got from him?
I can't believe he didn't get an at-bat in this series. Yeah. I think that's stupid. I think that's ridiculous. If you are going to call up Orelvis Martinez, I think the perfect time if you want to try things, because now John Schneider Now's the
Gotta
time
be getting
to
desperate, right? Try stuff.
Yep. Like we can't. I mean, I get it. He's not some 29-year-old guy who got a cup of coffee 3 years ago. This is supposed to be the number one position player in our organization, in the farm system, with real power. What does this team need? Power. I know that the shortstop defensive comps aren't great. I don't care. Get this kid an at bat in the big leagues. Give him some innings. Like, let's see what happens. We need to try something, and keeping him on the bench isn't doing anything for this club.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how many times you need to see George Springer, Justin Turner go up there and then all that stuff before you realize, oh shit, maybe this doesn't work. At least get the guy in there. Davis Schneider, we made the argument last year that when he came up, he quote unquote saved the Toronto Blue Jays season for a little bit. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 22-year-old who's never seen a big league pitch before. But look, if anybody has that potential to do it, and I understand the jump from AAA to the big leagues is much harder than it's ever been, but Orelvis Martinez has that power that can carry a team for a week. Put the guy in the lineup. Let's see what he can do. I don't care if he makes 3 errors in his first week. Hell, the Blue Jays made 4 errors alone today. So, it doesn't really matter. Get him in there. See if you can get a spark, because all you need is something to click to try to save the season, which we don't think is going to happen. But, at least the Blue Jays upper brass still think there is a chance.
Yeah, I think it's silly to call him up and not. I mean, he's got to get into the series against the Guardians. No questions asked.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something a little positive. We've been way too negative here, and I know people love the negative and stuff and right not, but we'll talk about something positive. You did mention Justin Turner, Riley, and I've been down on Justin Turner since the moment we signed him, but I do want to show some love. Remember, he was good in April. He has been good. I think over the last 10 days, he quietly has an OPS over 1,000 now, which a couple doubles. He did have a home run in there. But remember when the Blue Jays had that sickness roll through their clubhouse in May, apparently Justin Turner got it really bad. He is 39 years old, so your body just doesn't recover as well as from the sickness and stuff as a younger buck. So I don't want to say the excuse Justin Turner was just sick and now we're going to get a good player, but it's worth noting. So I guess I have to give some props to Justin Turner here. But
it's not
also, never hit second in our lineup again. But anyways, go on.
No. And I think it's great. If you're trying to draw an excuse, this is not a 79-year-old frail 80-pound woman getting sick. Justin Turner's immune system should be fine. I know he's not a 26-year-old, whatever. But if you're sick and you're still doing it, but I'm not drawing any excuses for Justin Turner. A tickle in your throat doesn't throw your bat speed down drastically. Like Justin Turner as a whole, he's digressing in his talent. I can see him in the lineup sometimes for sure. He had a good series. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see it continuing. I don't see that upward trajectory. I really don't, Jesse. I'm on board with you with why did we get this guy? I'm not going to go back and say, look at the free agents that were available that we could have got. In my head, I didn't like it. IKF and Justin Turner with the hitting. They're both here. At least IKF is a league average hitter. Justin Turner is not what he used to be. Yeah.
And it's amazing. The offense struggled last year. We signed 2 players we didn't think were good offensively. And all of a sudden, wow, this Blue Jays offense got worse, like we were saying all off season. Riley, I'm grasping at straws to try to find some positives here. The only thing I could think of is maybe Bichette being on the IL for a week clears his head, and maybe the calf isn't as bad as you think, but calf injuries are tricky, right? Josh Donaldson dealt with calf injuries that sidelined him for a long time towards the end of the season here. Our starting rotation was not that good today. Chris Bassett battled. Ernie Clement was the only one he could think of, but we already talked about him going 11 for 16 and then not playing at all in game 3. Was there any other player or moment or storyline that you can take away as a positive from this series?
Honestly, I think Yusei Kikuchi only went 4 innings in a start. This was game 1. We lost 7-3. I want to give Yusei Kikuchi mad props. I know he got hit hard. He did.
4 home runs allowed. Ties a career high. Yikes.
I mean, that's crazy. But on the other end, he struck out 7 and didn't walk a batter.
Yeah. 17 whiffs as well was up there for Kikuchi.
Jesse, it's crazy, man. I don't want, it's not a positive for, Yusei Kikuchi isn't a positive in this. What I'm trying to say is, he has turned himself around with the control. I mean, his walks to strikeouts is nowhere even close to where I thought it would be, Jesse. And he got absolutely lit up. But I mean, you want me to take away a positive? Sure. 7 Ks, 0 walks in the amount of runs he gave up. What did he give up? 5 earned runs in 4 innings. Woof.
Yeah, a lot of solo shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse Turiso says Vlad's haircut is the only positive. And Riley, you're the resident fashion guy on the show because my
Get
fashion
out
sense are
here.
not there. Yeah, you have a take on Vlad's new haircut or what?
Hey, you gotta. I mean, Gosman got one last year.
Yeah.
I think that, like, hey, if you got to switch it up sometimes. I get that. Like the whole baseball and swagger thing, and I think that's important for guys. Whatever works, man. I mean, I don't think the hair's the problem for Vladdy. I don't know what it is. I don't think he's not even. If Vladdy's not hitting home runs, it's whatever. That's something we complain about when there's nothing to complain about. There's so much more to complain about than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Because at least things are going well for him this year in a lot of senses. I know he's not a 18 home run guy right now, and he might not. It seems like 20 home runs are miles away, which is crazy. But I guess try something. I mean, we're far from. I hope our bag of tricks is a little bit deeper than what we're showing.
Hey, the New York Mets just had that purple monster grimace from McDonald's throughout the first pitch, and now all of a sudden they've won 7 games in a row. Like, can we try something dramatic like this? Like, it's
the Hamburglar. Let's get the Hamburglar.
Get him in there, or can we get a Canadian icon or something in here, like the House Hippo that used to be in our TV commercials?
Oh, you can't drop like that? House Hippo on this. You just blew my mind. North American House Hippos, man.
That's get one of them at first pitch.
Holy
Yeah, plain and simple was a typo in the title, but you know what? We're sticking with it. We're sticking with it because it's a very fitting theme.
I missed that.
Is for the episode here today. Yeah.
What? Wait, hold on. What did you do? What was it?
Our episode is called "This Team Is Not Good Enough." Plain and simple.
Oh, I love it.
And simple.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I didn't even realize that. That is a good.
Just like Justin Turner squaring up a baseball, it's a happy accident. So, let's move on to my next segment, a segment we've done well, and it's called This Stat. Does these stats matter? And this is a very starting pitching focus for the Toronto Blue Jays. We already talked a little bit about Yusei Kikuchi, but Riley, I just want to say over his last 5 starts, Yusei Kikuchi has an ERA over 6. Does that stat matter?
I think of course it matters. Do I think he'll bounce back? Yes, I think that under the hood looks good. He's getting hit way too hard, obviously, Jesse. And I think that he'll recover. I don't think he'll finish with an ERA this season below 4. But I think he's bound for another good year, and it will show in his walks and his strikeouts. And honestly, it's just in his nature. He'll never be a Cy Young guy because he'll always miss one thing in his game.
Right. So does this cold stretch that he's been on recently affect his trade value at all?
I think a little bit. I'm not looking. I think we need Yusei Kikuchi to finish this year. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple of other guys I'd put ahead of him. I want Yusei Kikuchi to finish this year with us. I know that. I know.
Sell everyone, right?
I know that. I know, Jesse. I know because it's a 1 year. He'll hit free agency. I really like Yusei Kikuchi. I think that him being a starting pitcher adds a ton of value. Because I know a lot of teams would die for a pitcher like that. He's been very good this year, hasn't been good as of late, but I know that he can bounce back.
Yeah, Yusei Kikuchi going on a run sooner rather than later will actually do great things for the future of the Toronto Blue Jays team. So let's root for that going forward. My next stat, Riley, also starting pitching related and has to do with Chris Bassitt, who in this start, 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Riley, he battled. We talked a lot about that for for Chris Bassitt, which he always seems to do, but he got the job done. And quietly, Riley, here's the stat. Over his last 9 starts, Chris Bassitt has a 2.33 ERA. And the Blue Jays are 4-5 in those 9 starts. Does that stat matter?
Yeah, it matters because he works his butt off. And I mean, the defense picks him up because he strands a lot of guys on base. But our offense is simply not good enough when he pitches. Jesse, we lost the Bassitt start 4-3. We scored 3 runs in every ball game of this series. Not good enough. That was our best pitch ball games in terms of pitching because the other 2 games we gave up 7. In this game, we gave up 4 runs, 2 of them charged to Chris Bassett. He worked his butt off. Again, I think he threw 99 pitches in his start.
Sounds
and
right. Yep.
He had to come out of that ball game. I mean, he's been good for us this year, but man, he's got just stuck with a little bit of luck. And it shows you, what did you say, 4 and 5 in those starts? We need better offense to back him up.
It's got to be so frustrating if you're Chris Bassett to know you're pitching your ass off, and then all of a sudden, your team can't score your runs. But
man, he hung in there. He hung in there, man, and he's battled, but just a tough break, man. We need to score more runs.
Right. So part of the reason the Toronto Blue Jays team has fallen to where they've fallen is that our bullpen has actually been quite awful. We've given up a lot of home runs, and aside from a few good surprises here or there, like the pieces as a whole don't seem to really fit that well. And we've been dealing with injuries. And in this one, Jimmy Garcia officially to the IL. We did see some nice pieces. Brandon Eisert came in. He did pitch 2 scoreless innings, but also walked 3 guys and gave up a hit. So we sent him down. We saw Ryan Burr, who already made an appearance earlier this year. He came back up, and he struggled in the game here today as well. And then the rest of our relievers, Tim Meza didn't have it again. Chad Green too. Okay. So Chad Green coming into this game had only given up 3 earned runs all season, and all 3 were on solo home runs. So every single base runner that got on base behind Chad Green has been stranded on base. Now, if you look under the hood, Chad Green's strikeout numbers are down, the walks are up, the quality of contact is up against him. Like, Chad Green should not have a 1.73 ERA. And then go figure, in this series, all of a sudden, he comes in with runners on, and they all score against Chad Green. So it's, how do you feel about this bullpen right now? And except for Brandon Little, because I want to talk a little about him a little bit after this, but the rest of the main guys in this bullpen here, you can include Pearson and Pop too. Like, how are you feeling about this group, man?
To lump them all together as a collective union, I don't feel good about it, Jesse. There's no question about it. I mean, I like what Bowden Francis has done as of late. I like what Zach Pop's done as of late. But and even Richards, the pitcher I probably like the least coming into this year, he's held his own. I mean, but we just don't have the depth. I mean, Little is not a big league pitcher. I know we'll get to
disagree.
that.
I want to talk about Brandon Littell a little later.
Okay. I think I really like what Pearson's done, but he's going to have a lot of blow-ups. And I mean, I don't feel great about Chad Green. But I mean, we're kind of grasping for anything right now with the bullpen. It's about filling innings, and someone's got to do it. Now, you disagree with me. You think that Little is a big league arm?
Yes. So I was actually going to come into this episode to say, Riley, true or false, Brandon Littell is our number 1 left-handed weapon out of the pen, ahead of Tim Meza, ahead of Genesis Cabrera. And I say that because he quietly put together, if you go back to the Milwaukee series, I think it's 5 or 6 straight scoreless outings. And even the outing he gave up today, he got a nasty strikeout against Rafael Devers, clutch, absolutely fantastic. And I think at that point he had mentally checked out because he just made probably the biggest out against a lefty. And then John Schneider's like, you know what? No, go back in and face Tyler O'Neill, whose OPS is like 1 billion against left-handed pitchers. And like, no surprise, he took Brandon Littell deep. So I'm crossing that one off. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he got Devers on 3 pitches, I think, too.
Yeah, great pitches, too.
They were.
Anyway, so the question is, Riley, is Brandon Littell ahead of Genesis Cabrera and Tim Meza on your depth chart in the bullpen?
I mean, we don't have a single lefty I like on the bump right now. I will say that. Yes, Little has done great, for sure, Jesse. But again, I just don't see that super high ceiling. I think that if a good lineup can put it together against him, I don't think he stands a real chance in a close game. I don't want him in a ton. None of these left-handers in our bullpen I want in high leverage. Like, it's almost like we're going back to the got to face 3 batters. Like, what we have is 3 lefty specialists where you face him to face Devers, and then regardless of the outcome, you take him out after. That can't happen now. Obviously, there's the 3 batter minimum, unless you finish the inning, and then of course you bring him back in, whatever. But yeah, I don't really trust the lefties, unfortunately. I really like Tim Meza. He's done nothing for us this year. Genesis Cabrera has been like so streaky, and I just don't trust Little yet. He's not even a failed MLB starter. Like, I just don't see the high ceiling. I don't see the appeal. Yes, he's got some good stuff, but I mean, if he can be hot, ride him till, the wheels fall off. But I mean, if he goes out there next time and we get a blow up, I'm not going to be surprised.
Right. If you have a pulse, throw with your left hand, and can throw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, you will have a job in the big leagues somewhere, and that is what Brandon Littell can do. Some minor news and notes just to wrap up the end of this episode here and kind of going off topic a little bit. The first one, Riley, Alek Manoah, successful surgery. Underwent the procedural brace surgery we talked about. The recovery for him, 12 to 14 months. So we will not be seeing Alek Manoah until late next season. All-Star break next season at the absolute earliest. But it's going to be a while before we see Alek Manoah again. So happy trails, Alek Manoah. Eric Pardinho, who we talked about a few episodes, who was riding a massive scoreless streak down in the minors, just got promoted to AAA Buffalo. And big surprise, a scoreless outing in his appearance there today. Eric Pardinho could be a bullpen name to watch for as we get late into this season here as well. Down on the farm, speaking of which, in the single A, high A Vancouver team, we had a complete game no-hitter. Lizardo Estrada, who that's probably the first time that name has ever come up on the history of our show, has come on and he's thrown a complete game no-hitter. So congratulations to him there. And then the big one, Riley, Joey Votto made his debut. He went over 2 with a walk in the Complex League, and then he went to Dunedin today, got into a game, and I know he walked in his first at-bat, and I know he popped up, I think, too short in a second at-bat. I don't know how the rest of the game went for Joey Votto, so at least we have the Joey Votto comebacks trail to root for. Any of those catch your attention? Any talking points on any of those notes there?
No, not really. And I'm not sold. I'm not sold that Votto's going to make it to the big league. It's a nice little experiment. We gave him a chance.
He'll come up. He'll play for like a week. He'll hit a home run. It'll be a great story.
What if he's riding a hot stick? If we get like MVP Votto or even a sliver of that, I'll take it. Who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be a shame that him hitting that home run off Zach Wheeler in spring training is going to be the Joey Votto highlight. There's a chance, rumors going around, that maybe Joey Votto is ready for Canada Day when the Astros are in town. And that would be quite a story. You call up Joey Votto on Canada Day and you put him into the lineup.
Yeah, but are we trying to win, or are we trying to make feel good? Are we making Hallmark movies, Jesse, or are we trying to win ball games? Honestly,
That's the thing. Where do you draw the fine line, right?
What a cute story. Here the Blue Jays are. There they are.
Yeah, right. Like it's fantastic. Here we are into July. We're not even at the All-Star break yet, but at least we have some little happy endings that we can talk to with our Toronto Blue Jays. Boy, I can't believe it's come to this at this point in the season, but so it goes for the Toronto Blue Jays right now here. Riley, that's all I've got for the episode. Was there anything else you missed? Any other positives? Anything from the offense?
I actually don't have a positive, but we're a baseball podcast. So we're a baseball podcast. We should touch on baseball things. And the biggest thing out of this week is Willie Mays passed away.
Yes. R.I.P.
I mean, honestly, like we are a Blue Jays podcast, but I think we would be ignorant not to, basically give our condolences to the world of baseball. I think when you're saying a name like Willie Mays, I mean, Jesse, we obviously didn't watch Willie Mays. Our best comp to him would have been Ken Griffey Jr. Willie Mays played for 24 years, made 24 All-Star games, 600 home runs. I mean, he's right here. That's 24 San Francisco Giants. That's insane, man. What a great baseball career. He loved baseball. He was great for the game of baseball. And that's a big one. I mean, I think he was 93 years old. That's a very long life, but nonetheless, still a very sad moment in the world of baseball and for the Willie Mays family and anyone else in association with him. But boy, that's a ball player right there. I think he has the most WAR for playing for a single team. If you're to look on the league board, and I think it's
that, but I believe that
like 150 area, which is insane. I mean, he was the definition of a 5-tool player.
And Willie Mays too. We got to talk about for what he's done for like getting the color integration into Major League Baseball as he played through the Negro Leagues and stuff like that, especially this week because MLB.com is doing a lot of Negro League stuff too. 660 home runs, 24-time All-Star for Willie Mays. He won 12 Gold Gloves, which is great, but also like the Gold Glove Award wasn't introduced until halfway through Willie Mays' career. So that is how good he has done. Up there in baseball royalty, like I'd say it's like Vin Scully, Hank Aaron, and you don't have to go that far down the list until you hit Willie Mays. So.
I mean, if there's you think of a Mount Rushmore for Major League Baseball, and without current players, I mean, there's you can put Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, you can argue the rest, but for me, I mean, it's got to be Willie Mays and maybe, geez, I don't even know, man. I'd be inclined to say Ken Griffey Jr. But hey, man, he's up there. He's on the Mount Rushmore of baseball, no matter what.
All right, well, that'll do it for Riley and I today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave us a 5-star review, share with all your friends. If you have a grievance with us, if you have a different way of how you can fix this Toronto Blue Jays, please leave a comment on our YouTube video, our Facebook page, anywhere you can find us. We'll chat with you. We'll have our little therapy session here together. And also, if you are in Toronto, I can't believe we're waited this long into this episode to talk about this, but yeah, Riley and I will be at Comedy Bar tomorrow with a bunch of Blue Jays media members, Caitlin McGrath, Scott Mitchell from TSN, Keegan Matheson from MLB.com, our friends over at the Walk Off podcast, Nick from Jays Today is going to be there, Lizzie McGuire, who has a baseball card made after her after getting in the face with the foul ball, will be there. We will be there. Our friend Jesse Teresa is going to be there. It's going to be a fun time. Come on out, have a lot of fun. Come talk Blue Jays baseball, share your stories. We can talk Willie Mays. We can talk any baseball great. Riley's got some immaculate grids ready to go. He's going to get out there. Like, it's going to be a great time. So if you are there, come hang out with us and with all the Blue Jays folks. It's going to be a hell of a night. I can't wait to see you there. Riley, any last words?
Yeah, we're going to have a fun ride up with Teresio because on my phone right now, I have loaded up because I downloaded Out of the Park Baseball. We're totally playing Out of the Park, us three. I got the 06 Blue Jays lined up.
Let's go.
I just need to find a team to trade Shea Hillenbrand to because I don't like the contract.
Giants, like they did in real life. But anyways, that's the story.
Did we get a Cardo for him?
Vinny Cholk, I think.
No, we didn't. He's already there. I want to check that because we got Jeremy Ocardo from the.
Might be a Cardo. You might be right.
All right, this is a conversation for another time. Let's let our viewers go to sleep.
See, we get swept and like we go off the rails. But anyways, we will be back for a new episode after the Guardian series. Until then, let's go Blue Jays.
Thanks, guys.